All right, let's jump into the world of web crawler developers. The ones who can find all that data gold you need. We're using the Web Crawler Developer Playbook today from theperfectdeveloper.com. They're kind of the experts when it comes to finding great developers. So today we're answering your biggest questions about hiring these special developers. But before we go any further, if you really want to streamline your search, go to theperfectdeveloper.com and check out their 5 questions tool. It helps find the perfect developer for you super quick and easy.
Yeah, that tool is amazing, and it's free.
Okay, so first things first, what does a web crawler developer do? It all sounds kind of mysterious.
Well, it might sound like something from a spy movie, but it's actually pretty simple. Think of a website like a giant library, full of information, right? Well, a web crawler developer creates a program, like a digital librarian, like goes to the library, finds the info you need, and organizes it for you.
So build these digital librarians, but instead of books, they're sorting through code.
Exactly. They gotta know languages like HTML. That's like the basic structure of websites. And
Mhm.
they need to understand protocols like HTTP. That's how information gets sent back and forth online. It's a pretty specific set of skills.
Okay, that makes sense. But how's a web crawler developer different from other developers?
It's all about those unique challenges you get when you're extracting data from websites. Sometimes websites have APIs. Those are kind of like pre-built doorways to their data. But a lot of the time, web crawler developers have to get creative, using tools like Scrapey or Puppeteer to get around obstacles and get you the data you need.
So they're kind of like digital detectives then, figuring out how to get info that's not easy to find,
Yeah.
but they have to do all this ethically and legally,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. There are rules online, too. Web crawler developers got to know things like the robots.txt file. That tells them which parts of a website are off limits, and they got to stay on the right side of the law, like the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act.
So they're walking a tightrope, huh? Getting the data, but staying within the lines. Sounds like you need someone who's got both the tech skills and a good moral compass.
Totally. That balance is key.
Okay, let's talk about the big one, cost. How much does it cost to hire one of these digital detectives? And does it change based on, you know, how experienced they are?
It's like anything else, you get what you pay for.
Sure, but like what's the range?
Well, a junior developer, someone just starting out, they might make around like $50,000 to $70,000 a year. But a senior developer, someone with lots of experience, they could be making upwards of $140,000.
Wow, that's a big difference. And I'm guessing where they live matters too, huh?
Definitely. Places like San Francisco or New York, those big tech hubs, salaries are going to be higher there because everything costs more and there's more competition for talent. But here's the good news. You can find talent all over the world. Countries like India, Ukraine, Poland, they're known for having great web crawler developers. And that can mean more affordable options. And again, theperfectdeveloper.com can help you sort through all that and find the right fit for your budget.
That's good to know. So we talked about full-time salaries, but what if you don't need someone full-time? What about freelancers or outsourcing?
Those are great options too, especially if you have a smaller project or a limited budget.
What do freelancers usually charge per hour?
It depends on their experience, of course, but entry-level freelancers, they might charge $15 to $30 an hour, and more experienced ones, maybe $30 to $60. And if you need a whole team or some really special expertise, you could look at a specialized agency, but that's going to be more expensive, probably over $150 an hour.
So there are lots of options, huh? From hiring someone full-time to bringing in a freelancer for a specific task.
Yeah. Exactly. Each approach has its own pros and cons.
This is super helpful. We've covered what web crawler developers do, the skills they need, and how much they cost. So now that we've got the basics down, let's talk about how to actually find the perfect developer for you. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
We'll be back in a jiffy.
Stick around.
Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. Now that we've got the basics down, let's find you the right web crawler developer. It's not as easy as just searching online, is it?
Definitely not. You need someone who gets what you're trying to do right.
Yeah,
Someone who can deliver the right data within your budget.
exactly.
So where do you even start looking for these people?
Well, you've got your usual job platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, even those tech-focused boards like Stack Overflow. Those are good starting points.
And what about those freelance websites like Upwork or TopTal? Those are good, right?
Yeah, those are great for freelancers, especially if your budget's tight or it's a short-term project. And of course, there's always theperfectdeveloper.com. They've got a bunch of pre-vetted developers with all sorts of skills.
Okay, so you've got a list of potential developers. Now what? How do you figure out if they're actually any good?
Their portfolio is key. It's like looking at an artist's work, you know?
Yeah.
You want to see if their style matches what you're going for.
So what should you be looking for in a web crawler developer's portfolio?
First things first, have they actually done successful scraping projects before? Have they worked on things similar to what you need? Can they handle those tricky websites, the ones with KOTCHAs and all that dynamic content?
So you're looking for proof that they can actually do it, not just talk about it.
Exactly. Don't be shy about asking them questions either. How did they tackle the challenges on those projects? What tools did they use? How did they make sure the data was good quality? Their answers will tell you a lot about how they solve problems and how much attention they pay to the details.
So it's kind of like a mini interview before the actual interview. Speaking of interviews, any red flags to watch out for?
Oh, yeah. If they're not curious, that's a big one. You want someone who's genuinely interested in what you're doing, someone who asks good questions about your goals and what kind of data you need. And watch out for anyone who doesn't care about ethics. A good developer will be upfront about respecting website rules and staying within the law.
Yeah, you don't want to end up in legal trouble because your web crawler was too aggressive. It sounds like finding the right developer is a mix of things: technical skills, ethics, and just plain good communication.
You got it. And remember, theperfectdeveloper.com can really help you through all of this. They know all about web crawler development. They can connect you with developers who are not just skilled, but also ethical and reliable.
That takes a lot of pressure off.
Okay.
So let's say you found your developer. Now what? How do you manage a web crawling project? How do you make sure it goes smoothly?
It all comes down to clear communication and the right tools.
Okay, let's break that down. What does clear communication look like for a project like this?
Well, first, you have to define your goals really, really clearly. What specific data are you after? How often do you need to scrape it? What format do you want the data in? And just as important, what's your budget and your timeline?
So it's about setting expectations right from the start.
Yep. And once the project gets going, you need those regular check-ins. Websites change all the time, so you got to make sure your developer knows about any changes that could mess with the scraping.
Makes sense. And what about tools? Any tools that are helpful for managing these projects?
Oh, definitely. You've got your project management platforms like Asana or Trello. Those keep everyone organized and on the same page. Then you've got your communication tools like Slack, great for quick questions and updates. And version control systems like Git, those are essential for tracking changes to the code and making sure everyone's working with the latest version.
Okay, so you've got your communication plan, your tools are ready, and your developers working hard. Anything else people should keep in mind when they're managing a web crawling project?
Data validation is a big one. It's not enough to just collect data. You have to make sure it's accurate and you can trust it.
So how do you do that? Is that the developer's job or yours?
It's a team effort, really. You need to tell the developer what your quality standards are right from the start. Do you need the data cleaned up, formatted in a specific way? Are there any checks you need in place to make sure it's accurate?
So it's not just about getting the data, it's about getting the right data.
Exactly. And that's where a good web crawler developer really shines. They understand all the ins and outs of data extraction. They can help you set things up to make sure the data you're getting is clean, accurate, and trustworthy.
This has been so helpful. We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From finding developers to managing the whole project. But we haven't even talked about what to do with all this data once you have it. Feels like we're just scratching the surface here.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The real magic happens when you start analyzing that data. That's how you unlock those valuable insights.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. Let's talk data analysis. Let's see how web crawling can actually transform your business. And we're back. Ready to finish our web crawler developer deep dive.
It's been a journey, right? From tech skills to ethics, communication. We even talked about managing projects and making sure your data is good.
Yeah, we covered a lot. But like we were saying before, the real power of web crawling is what you do with all that data.
Exactly. Think of it like a puzzle. All those pieces of data are clues, and they help you see the bigger picture.
Okay, so how do we put the puzzle together? How do we make sense of all this data?
It really depends on your goals.
Right, of course. But can you give us some examples? Like, say I'm running an e-commerce business. What kind of insights could I get from web crawling?
Well, you could track your competitors' prices in real time even. See what people are saying about your products and your competitors' products too. You could even spot trends before they happen. See what customers are going to want next.
So it's not just about reacting to what's happening NW. It's about getting ahead of the curve.
Exactly. Web crawling gives you a glimpse into the future, helps you make smarter decisions.
I'm starting to see the potential here. But what if I'm not, like, a tech expert? Can I still use web crawling?
Oh, absolutely. You don't need to be a data scientist to get valuable
So
insights.
what's the trick?
There are tools out there, platforms, that make it easy to visualize and analyze data. You don't even have to code.
Okay, that's good to know. But I guess it still takes some analytical thinking, right?
It does. But the cool thing is, the data itself can guide you.
How so?
Look for patterns, trends, anything unusual in the data.
Like what?
Imagine you see a ton of bad reviews for one of your products. Yeah, that's a sign to investigate. Maybe there's a problem with the product itself. Or maybe a competitor just launched something better.
And then you can, like, fix the problem or change your marketing.
Exactly. Web crawling gives you the data, but you have to figure out what it means and turn it into action.
This has been amazing. I think we've really explained web crawler developers, haven't we? And shown everyone how to use web data to their advantage.
Yeah, we've gone from finding the right developer to managing the project and then actually using the data to make better decisions.
And if anyone's feeling lost, remember, theperfectdeveloper.com is there to help.
They can help you find the perfect developer.
Whether you need a freelancer, a full-timer, or just some advice.
They've got experts who can guide you.
So go check out theperfectdeveloper.com and try their 5 questions tool.
It's the fastest way to find your perfect developer match.
And with that, we wrap up our deep dive into web crawler developers.
Happy crawling, everyone!